Today, we're going to be talking about a company called Polyhero, which makes strange dice based on class in like 5th edition 5e D&D. Now, I have a number of these sets right now, and I plan to pick up the rest of the collection at some point, but they are a little bit pricier than most sets of dice, and for what you're getting, it is more reasonable most of the time to purchase a regular set of dice. Now let's get started on the review. These dice are called Polyhero Dice. They come in sets based around a character class or a specific item that a character might use. For instance, these are venomous. These are like poison vials. You can only get in these colors, but you can get them for about $15 for a set of 5, and these are D6s. Now let's talk about how these things roll, which is not necessarily the best, but they are really fun to use, especially if you're playing a rogue. Next up, we're going to be talking about these D8s, which are pretty fun to use too, but again, these are much more in the sense that you have to roll them like this. Now I have multiple sets of D6s and this set of 5 arrow D8s. I believe these are also supposed to be rogue themed for like a ranged archer rogue, but they also work for a ranger, and they would work pretty well for a lot of ranged attacks. You want to make them a little bit more interesting. These again were also around $15 for a pack of 5, which isn't always the best, but compared to some of the other sets that they have or other dice that you can buy, these really aren't that bad. Closer look at these. See the D8? These I get a lot of questions on whenever I bring them out, which is on a rare occasion, not all the time. But people don't know about Polyhero, and Polyhero has been making dice for quite some time now. I believe these have been showing up on game store shelves when I first started playing D&D, which was about 10 years ago now at this point. Wow. Didn't realize it had been that long. Now these are meant for warriors. They call them warrior to cover most martial classes. These were meant to be like circular daggers, essentially. And again, like a lot of these other ones you've seen so far today, these also require to be rolled like that. So you don't roll them in the normal sense, because that doesn't give them as much of a spin. You gotta let them spin like that. They're not as satisfying and a little bit awkward to roll, but they are very cool, and I have had some good rolls with these before. And really, these are meant to be novelty collector's items, not necessarily collectors in the sense they have a ton of value, but they're just neat to have. Well, this is the chalice for the cleric class. I believe this is supposed to be for clerics. This is the holy chalice, the holy grail, the spiritual weapon of the hammer, the vial of light for the healing potion. These are like maces and suns, things of that nature. Then we have these, which are meant to be holy lanterns, I believe. You know, the ones you see in movies that are swinging them and smoke is coming from them. Censers, I believe they're called. Now, what I will say about these that makes them worth it is that they're utterly unique. No other company, or as far as I've been able to tell, dice maker does anything as crazy as Polyhero does. And for that fact alone, I think the Polyhero deserves a lot of credit due to just how well you can actually make dice that roll. Like, there's only so many shapes you could take for a die. But these right here with Polyhero, they're utterly unique in the world of dice. And that is why I appreciate them. This one here, you gotta spin like a top. What do we get? 2. That's not very good. Let's try that again. Takes a little bit of practice, and these gloves are not really helping me do this. Anyway, I can keep messing with these all day, and I do actually spend a fair amount of time just playing with these. Like how you roll this D4 is ludicrous. Probably something like that. But you could probably fake that pretty easily, so you have to do a little more twist on it. These sets right here that come in specific sets for classes do have multiple different color options, but they're relatively hard to get a hold of inside of game stores, and they usually hide in there, which is something I've noticed as well. People will walk directly by these because they don't really take a chance to look, and look kind of like minifigure parts for D&D in some fashion, but no one ever looks at them. I feel like that's a shame, because Polyhero is pretty exclusive. Only one company does this, and I always wanted to do a shine the light on them. I'm going to be doing a massive order to get every set sometime in the next couple of months, though, so I'll be doing a longer video on those. If I would rate these on practicality, as in using them as dice, it's going to be a 5 out of 10. Maybe. I don't think it's possible to get a 1 out of 10 unless it's completely disfigured. But these are fun. That's where they're a 5 out of 10. These are really, really fun to have and really cool to show off if you get them. And I really do like looking at them and all the colors that they come in. These, on the other hand, these smaller sets, as in they also have holy hand grenades as D4s, which I thought was crazy too. Those are on my list as well. These, on the other hand, are more fun to run and more practical to roll than these other dice are. So are these poison vials. See what I get. 4, 2, 6, 4, 2. Not bad. And let's roll these. 2, 1, 3, 1, 6. Not bad. So yeah, I want to show you a little bit about Polyhero. They exist. You'll find them in your game store, most likely if your game store is pretty well stocked. But they'll just kind of exist there and no one ever talks about them. They'll disappear, like someone's buying them. And in this case, it's not me, which is startling. But someone is buying them. I don't know who that is, and no one ever posts about them. So I thought I would do a good coverage of what these options are. This is the cleric set, the daggers, the poison vials, and the arrows. I'll be doing more videos to pick up more sets to go over the entire collection of Polyhero, which these and how much they cost. A standard rate for a full Polyhero class set is going to be $35.99, roughly $35, $35.99, and that is a little expensive, which I understand that everybody can spend on dice. So my advice for this is only buy these if you're set in the rest of your dice. Do not use these as a replacement for regular 7, 8, 9 piece sets. It's not going to work. It's not going to be reliable, and a lot of DMs probably won't want you to use them. So, yeah, collector's items. Collect them because they're cool. Don't expect them to replace regular dice. So that reason, I give them 5 out of 10 practicality, because they're just not good for that. But they are very cool to have, and they are super neat to add to your collection, which gives them the 5-star rating. Alright, so I'm going to do more details on this in a little bit. Post some links on my website where you can possibly find these, and come back and check me out later.